If there's something good, there's a generic. And if it's tech, it's in China. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 current-gen Chinese consoles. Coming in at number 10 is the Funbox. It was announced in March of 2014, and it was made through a partnership with ZTE and The Nine Limited. ZTE is a huge networking company in China, and The Nine previously held exclusive rights to World of Warcraft in China. So, we're not talking about small enterprises at all. The Funbox ran on NVIDIA's quad-core Cortex A15, had 2GB of RAM, 8GB of storage, dual-band Wi-Fi, and 2 USB ports. It actually, despite its name, looks kind of cool, although I have to imagine it's a bit bulky judging based on what it looks like still. However, let's just go ahead and say this, there's not a lot of news on the Funbox after 2014. It's just an Android-based console, and, well, it's a decently powerful one. There's not a ton of Android-based games that are really big console hits. Plus, it was discontinued. You don't usually do that with runaway successes. Coming in at number 9 is the GPDXD Gamepad Portable, which is an Android gaming console, Bluetooth shared internet, 4GB of RAM, a touchscreen, a couple of pretty good looking buttons, some dual sticks, and it basically comes shipped with a bunch of emulators playing like Nintendo 64, PlayStation, even some Super Nintendo, and it's actually a pretty cool little thing. It is, however, limited in a few respects. If you are trying to read anything that it says on its screen, it's in Chinese. That, and there's some kind of bad input lag on, the pirated games. But that's kind of maybe inherent in the fact that it's an emulator, and a lot of the Android emulators aren't great. Don't ask me how I know that. It's not gonna blow anybody's mind, but it's also not the worst thing ever. Number 8 comes in with the OYay Mate 20X, which is a 7.2-inch tablet that you could attach this little thing to that made it into supposed competition for the Nintendo Switch. It's kind of silly. They put the Nintendo Switch on screen at their big presentation for this thing. Nintendo Switch had a certain battery life that they were claiming they had beaten by a lot, by double, but Breath of the Wild isn't on the Mate 20X, like Angry Birds is. That's not to say that there's not some good Android games out there, and it's also not even to poo on Angry Birds. But this is just flat out not competition for the Nintendo Switch, even though it probably could have been. It was kind of cool. It looked neat, but it is ultimately just like a big phone or a small tablet. Coming in at number 7 is the Soulja Boy gaming consoles. Jake has done more in-depth videos on this if you're interested in more talk on them. They are literally just knockoff consoles that you could buy that Soulja Boy branded, and, tons of pirated games are on it. It's not that different from a lot of these specific types of knockoff consoles. A lot of them come with a bunch of pirated games on it, but this one came with Soulja Boy's name on it as well. No one was happy about that. Not Soulja Boy's fans, not companies that had their stuff pirated. Nintendo, notorious about, emulators and suing people, and you put your name on something and it makes it much easier to do that. He just stopped making it after a pretty short period of time. I assume he made a little bit of money off of it. I can't imagine it was really massively expensive to produce, and I'm sure he sold at least a few of it. So not a bad grift, but was a grift. For sure. Number 6, the G20 was a console that Alibaba and the makers of a failed Nintendo clone teamed up to take the world by storm by making. Now, it's basically a camera from the looks of it, like a sort of a cheap looking console on a stand with a camera, and its controllers are basically Wiimotes. And when I say they're basically Wiimotes, I don't mean like they're kinda like Wiimotes, I mean they're Wiimotes. The G20 ran on Aliyun OS, which Alibaba actually created a Linux-based smartphone OS, but all that tells us is that it is basically a smartphone console with Wiimotes. So you can do everything that you would do on a smartphone, but on your TV with a Wiimote, I guess. Maybe. You could also stream television and movies, although I'm sure that they don't have any other devices in China that do that. Coming in at number 5, the Xiaomi, and forgive me if I pronounced that wrong, BlackShark gamepad. Now this thing was actually kind of cool. It was a controller that you could basically pair with a phone that made the phone into kind of a Nintendo Switch. It's not a bad phone. I mean, it's got some beef, but it wasn't a Nintendo Switch, just like the OYay Mate 10X or whatever. Kind of aped the hardware of a Nintendo Switch, but was still an Android tablet, and that's ultimately what you're going to get, so you're still playing Android phone games. Part of the reason that the Nintendo Switch has worked out so well is that it's a dedicated piece of gaming hardware with a trusted name in gaming that curates the experience and makes sure that it's good, at least by the standards of customers that it knows because it's been around forever. The Android market is not like that, and a lot of people just stay away from it because it's such a saturated market that even if you have a great game, it might just get totally ignored. Coming in at number 4 is the OBox. Now, the OBox means the online box. It was developed by a company called Snail Games. It's basically another Android console. I mean, it does a little bit more in that it gives you a hard drive and it's got some good NVIDIA hardware in it, but there's very little you could really do to get me super interested in an Android console, other than like if some company that you knew could secure developers to make exclusives that you could only get for that console that people want, and not like a couple of them, but a lot of them, and not happened yet. Even the NVIDIA Shield, which has Portal as an exclusive, you can't get Portal on any other Android device. It's still just an Android thing, you know? Portal's not a new game, and it's a game, not a bunch of games. The OBox, yeah, I mean, it's really not anything more than that, except for it doesn't have Portal on it, you know? So, cool. Number 3, the OYay, which if you remember the OYay, which is pretty much the thing we're talking about with all this, a Android micro console. Although the OYay at least had like developer support and an ecosystem of games that people actually wanted to play. Not a lot, but some. The OYay, or OYay, I don't really know how to say it, looked like a PlayStation 4 because the body of it was basically a PlayStation 4 and had an Xbox controller. I mean, the main difference was that there's like 6 buttons where the Xbox button would be. And on the actual console itself, the PlayStation 4 ripoff body, it's got that Xbox line thing from like the first generation of Xbox Ones. Yeah, it's blatant. It's not even trying to not look like PlayStation 4. In fact, I would say it's probably like really trying very hard to look like PlayStation 4. And its controller it's literally an Xbox One controller. Oh, also it's an Android micro console. So, Coming in at number 2 is a Xbox One looking thing with like a DualShock 2, DualShock 3 looking controller. You get 2, at least. They're USB. I'm sure they didn't manufacture them. I mean, it's basically what you expect from pretty much every clone console. It's got a ton of emulators on it, tons of pirated games. Doesn't look particularly good. I mean, these things are typically pretty unremarkable, but it's just astounding how blatant they are with some of this stuff. There's no fan in the console, and yet they have a fake fan vent. There's no DVD input, yet they have a fake DVD disc tray. It's just silly. Like, it's blatant and silly. Like, just sell a box of plastic or something. It at least has an HDMI port, and a lot of these things don't, but it's hard to end on anything other than Like, number 1, it's a console called the Tomahawk F1, which is, it manages to combine the Xbox and the PlayStation. It does not look different from either of them particularly. It has quite a PlayStation 4 look to the actual console itself, although it is different. You have to give them that. It's not completely a ripoff. The controller, on the other hand, is completely a ripoff of the Xbox One controller. And again, like, we're talking about $150, basically knockoff, nothing special to say. They tried to sell it as like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox killer because you can buy PlayStation 4 and Xbox in China now. If you remember, there was a console ban there a while back that was lifted in 2014. But I mean, making Android consoles, and again, this is another one of those. It's never going to beat the real thing. It can't. It's not bad, but like for $150, Is that worth it? No. Quick bonus is this goofy thing. For $349, you could buy this. You get it. Like right off, you understand what this is. It's an Android tablet PC game console. So, I mean, it's no, for $350, no. I do not care if it's got Portal and Portal is marked as Portal 2 or any of this stuff. No. $350 for this goofy thing? Come on. In fact, all of these are really just goofy in their own way. Would you buy any of these things? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. I don't think I would. I think that it seems to be kind of a waste. If you like this video, click like, and if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.